Hello, I'm Lelda Smits for the Finance News Network, and joining me today is founder and non-executive chairman of Fortescue Metals Group, Andrew Forrest. Andrew, welcome.
My absolute pleasure, Lelda. Thank you for bringing me onto the show, and the best to all your viewers.
Now, you stepped down as Fortescue CEO last year, but we're in your head office now. And to what extent are you still holding onto the reins?
Look, I started the company. I totally love the company, but it's much better off with me as a guiding chairman and having a really active executive team. They're super talented, they're even more committed, and they're steering the company exactly as it should be. And so for me, if they have a complaint at all, they probably don't see enough of me, but I can assure them if they need me, I'm absolutely there. This is, of course, my major business investment, but it's also emotional. You know, I love this company, and I will continue to guide it as long as I'm useful.
Now, you recently boosted your stake in Fortescue, taking your holding to about a third. Why buy now, and how much more do you want?
I'm an accumulator of Fortescue shares. I think it's a real privilege to own them. I know that people get excited because you can buy them cheap or buy them more expensive. To me, this is a multi-generational investment. It is a very long-term company. It has assets which are the prize of the world.
Now, Andrew, we've both just attended the Africa Down Under conference here in Perth. Are you or Fortescue looking at any investments abroad?
Look, we have for years and years, but we're a hugely discretionary investor. We look at assets through the lens of can it compete with our massive projects in terms of profitability, return on equity, scale, to use our people to the best of their ability. It's got to compete with what we do here in the Pilbara. So while we could have made 35 different investments over the last three or 4 years, often the company's defined by the investments they don't make.
Now, Andrew, you've been a very vocal opponent of the Labor government's minerals resource rent tax, but could you explain why you're against a tax that's being sold to Australians as a redistribution of wealth?
Because it's a political lie. If it was that, sure, stand up and do it, but it's nothing of the sort. The Treasurer knew it. BHP, Rio Tinto, Xstrata, those huge multinational companies, they all knew it. But what got sold by the Treasurer to the Australian people is exactly what you said. This is a redistribution. This is to make it all fairer. What a political hoax. Exactly as I've said for ages, for all its heat, light, dust and smoke and promises, it hasn't raised a cent.
Fortescue has, of course, lodged a challenge in the High Court of Australia against the mining tax. But Andrew, do you really believe you can and will repeal the tax? Or is this just an attempt to highlight your opposition to it?
No, we think it's unconstitutional. And we've already had statements from government saying, well, we'll legislate out the problems, because clearly their lawyers are saying, hey, there could be issues here. Now, what are they saying if they're going to legislate out the problems? Then they're in the same breath saying, well, we must agree with Fortescue. We're trying to ram down the throat of the Australian people something which is a political hoax and hasn't raised a cent. All the companies have come out and said they're not paying it. Fortescue said we're not even going to protect against it. We're not going to pay it. But it's out there as this redistribution completely failing its policy, yet the government's saying, well, we might have to change it to make it constitutional. What are they saying? It's unconstitutional now.
Now, Andrew, you are well known for being a very active philanthropist. Which causes are you currently promoting, and why do you believe they should matter to Australians?
Look, I am a person who believes that the greatest challenge facing Australia is the disparity between Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people, and it's not for money. We've had so many bureaucrats and politicians solving problems by throwing our precious taxation dollars at it. What's it do? It weakens people. It creates a racism of low expectations. Instead, if we do the harder yard and ask our Aboriginal people to fulfil their absolute ability, which they have, they can compete with every other Australian in every sense. We've seen it in the sport, of course. Let me tell you, intellectually, no problem either. Let's expect them, let's demand from Aboriginal people that they take the responsibility of the acceptance of opportunities which we offer. Opportunity and responsibility, you have it, your listeners have it, your viewers have it. Aboriginal people want it as well, and they don't get it if we're just throwing them money the whole time.
And do you believe Australians focus enough on philanthropy, or what do you think can or should be done to promote it?
Look, while you've got governments which seem to be hell-bent on taxing anything which moves, I don't blame Australians for wanting to keep their powder dry. In America, you have this encouragement of philanthropy and encouragement of entrepreneurialism and encouragement of success. Now, once we move to there, you'll get people feeling really good about giving their success away. I, of course, advocate that. I support it strongly. Australians have this unique capacity to really make a difference. Combine it with a bit of capital, they can make a serious difference. Our movement against modern-day slavery and forced labour is one of the most effective movements which the world has seen, and it's only just started. It's bred here in Australia from Australian philanthropy, Australian energy, yet it's impacting people around the world now. That's what Australians are capable of.
Andrew Forrest, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, you're my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.